Hi everyone, it's Joe. Welcome back to another ramble. It is Saturday, February 14th, aka Valentine's Day at 10:58 p.m. EST. Let us kick things off. Okay, before we get into the recap of last night and the today stuff, there's one little tangent I would like to go on. So if you would bear with me for however long this lasts, that would be very much appreciated. Alright, we are going to talk about feedback and criticism. Okay, so I will be the first person to admit that I do not handle criticism well. I don't handle criticism well, and then when I get positive feedback, I get really, really excited. But I think most people do. And I try to think of a way to reply to it or acknowledge it, and then I get all nervous that I'll say something stupid in response. But criticism, and I will be the first to admit, I handle it terribly. Because I see it, and then I think I'll see something constructive about one aspect of something, and then I will think that the entire thing is bad. Not just whatever the criticism is addressing. So yeah, we're gonna lead with that I myself. Sorry, I literally just got out of the shower and my hair is being difficult, but that's what I get for doing this right out of the shower. So yeah, I will admit that I am terrible with criticism, even though every ramble I ask you all for feedback. So the reason I brought this up was I was going through all of my videos. I was just scrolling through the playlist on YouTube Studio, and I noticed that some of my videos have and it's not very common, have a single dislike. I think maybe one might have had two, but I feel, but I could be misremembering. But I said, it wasn't very common. But I would just see this singular dislike, and it got me thinking, because this is the first time I've noticed it. So if people left them in the hopes that I would see them and feel hurt by them, I'm sorry, but I'm really late to the party. I think the most recent one might have been on the 24th of January, when I was checking through the playlist. I wanted to find the most recent one so I could mention that one by date to show how recent it is, and I also don't know when the dislike was left. So, but anyway, so I noticed this dislike, and then I noticed the others, and I was like, okay, they disliked the video, Now what did they dislike about it? And it got me thinking. If one of you listening to this right now, or anybody in the future, not now, if they're in the future and not listening to this, I don't know how they'll hear this specific message, but who knows? If you listen to one of my rambles and you're like, you know what, I dislike that, I want to leave a dislike, can I ask for a small favor? Could you leave it and then also leave what you didn't like about it? Not even because I'm so bent out of shape because of the dislike that I need your approval. I just, if in my mind, I only leave a dislike if the video is something that I personally don't think should be on YouTube. That is my level of dislike. You could just change the word dislike into hate or disdain or despise, something far more negative than dislike. So in my mind, if you dislike it that much, could you let me know why? Because I'm genuinely curious. I mean, that goes for feedback in general. It doesn't have to be associated with I want to leave a dislike, let's leave feedback. If you're gonna leave feedback because you think I need there's something in this terrible format of mine that if you did this, I think it would be greatly improved, or when you do this, it's not great, you should change this up a little bit, or you should do I am all for feedback and constructive criticism, even if I take it terribly. I saw these one-off dislikes here and there, and I thought, I wonder what drove them to the point of hitting dislike. Now, it very well could just be like YouTube bots, like clicking, not like YouTube owned by YouTube, but like bot accounts just clicking things. But I choose to believe that it's an actual person. So like, if they're leaving the dislike because they sat through enough of it, they're like, I don't like this. How come? Tell me. Me curious. Now, if you sat through enough of this and you hit it because you saw or heard me say something that leads back to me being trans or whatever, and you're being rude and bigoted, I don't need that. You can just see your way out. But I don't want to believe that every one of these dislikes has come from that. In fact, I don't want to believe that any of them have come from that. And, it's simply just because, somebody didn't like the video. Now, it very well could just be, this wasn't really for them, my format isn't for them, my quality is below their standard, whatever. But, like, if they have, like, legitimate, I didn't like this, or, this could be better, or, by all means, feel free to leave your criticism and feedback instead of just hitting dislike. Now, if you choose to hit dislike and leave it anyway, that's fine as well. And honestly, I don't expect the one-off people, like, I don't expect this video to get a dislike from the random one-off accounts or whatever. Maybe it will, just to prove me wrong, I guess. But, I don't know. I hope all of that made sense. Like, even though I'm terrible at handling criticism, by all means, if there's something about my format that you dislike or something that you think I could legitimately improve upon, by all means. And I'm not at all doing this in a way to try to push for comments, because as someone who rarely ever comments on videos myself, I get it. I don't particularly like commenting either. But, yeah, just in the realm of feedback, legitimately, if you notice something or whatever, you're like, yeah, I think this could be improved, by all means. Worst I'm gonna do is be like, best case scenario, I do it, I like it, it improves, whatever. Worst case scenario, I do it, I don't like it, and it just doesn't happen, which is fine in my opinion. If there's something feedback wise that I try and I just don't think fits my style, or I'm just not a fan of, I feel like that's perfectly reasonable and fine, given that it's my content and whatever. But like, I'm always open to I think this could be an improvement, or this could make things better, whatever. Okay, so we're at 7.5 minutes. I'm really sorry, I didn't mean for that tangent to go on as long as it did. My bad. That was not my intention at all. If you stuck with me for about 8 minutes here, I'm very much appreciative. But let's kick off the actual ramble. So last night, right after I got off the ramble, I watched Late Night with the Devil. And I thought it was very, very good. I've learned that my style of horror is not like constant jump scares and loudness. Like, I like the horror movies where it's like eerie and kind of slower. Also, I think my PS5 is about to shut off, so if you hear that make a noise, my apologies. But like, I really liked Late Night with the Devil last night. After I finished it, it made me really, like, it felt like I was watching it felt like I was watching the movie version of like a Lost Episodes creepypasta. We found this lost episode of this, TV show, and we watched the video, and it's like, there's blood and gore and violence, and there's demons coming out of the thing. That's like really over-exaggerated, but like, that's what it reminded me of, and I love those videos. I love creepypastas in general, but like, those I always found like really interesting, just because it's like, ooh, what if this was real? And so that was like watching the higher budget movie version of one of those like stories, and I really, really enjoyed it. If you look into it and you're even mildly interested, I would highly recommend checking it out. I believe it is on, like, available through subscription. I believe it is on Shudder, and it might, I think it's on Shudder, which I don't have, and I think it might also be on AMC Plus. I bought it on Fandango at Home, or Vudu, whatever you want to call it. So I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But if you look into it and it seems even mildly interesting, I highly recommend. But yeah, so I watched that, and then watched some YouTube, watched The Wire, went to bed. Woke up today at about 9:30, got out of bed about 10, got dressed, took out the trash, went and got breakfast, came back here, and then I worked on my presentation for Earth history for a little bit, and then I checked in on Animal Crossing. Then I played Romeo is a Dead Man for just a little bit. I think I've beaten 2 chapters. So now I'm on chapter 4, if we're counting the prologue as chapter 1. Oh wait, no, because prologue was Nightmare. So I guess prologue, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Okay, this would be chapter 4, if we're counting prologue as prologue. Yeah, I think I did that right. I'm having a very good time with the game so far. And then, let's see. So I played that for a little bit, and then I ordered dinner. I had some chicken wings, collard greens, and mac and cheese from Side Piece Cafe, which I believe I talked about before. All of their food is named after, Jesus, why I'm gonna stumble on a word right now. Intimate. There we go. Phrases. I'm struggling to think of an example. If you look up their menu, you'll just see what I mean. It only dawned on me after the fact that I ordered from this place on Valentine's Day, which I thought was really funny. So I had dinner, and it was very good. And then I was watching YouTube, played a little bit more Romeo's a Dead Man, and then I hopped in the shower, and here we are. When I would get off the ramble, I wanted to play a visual novel today, like a specific one for Valentine's Day. Like, there's a romance one I've been wanting to play. So I might start that, but also, I know for a fact I'm going to watch a movie. It's another horror movie, because my brain's still on the horror kick from yesterday. So I'm going to watch Heart Eyes, because it's quite literally a Valentine's Day horror movie. Feels very appropriate. So tomorrow I will be sure to give my feedback, unless I strongly want to give it immediately after I finish, which then I'll do it then, but I imagine it'll just be in tomorrow's ramble. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a slasher movie, which I haven't watched a slasher horror movie in a hot minute, so I'm curious to see if I like it, because a lot of the reviews said that it was surprisingly good. So I'm very, very intrigued. But I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover today, including the tangent that went way longer than I thought it would. So, like I said, if you stuck with me through that, thank you very much. But if you liked what you're listening to, hit like, leave feedback in the comments below, especially if you feel the need to leave a dislike. Oh yeah, okay, sorry, I was blanking on what I was going to say next. Follow me on Twitter if you feel so inclined to do so. Link for that is in the description. And as always, don't forget, your support means the world to me. I love you all. But most importantly, I miss my bestie more than anyone else in the entire world, and I cannot wait until I get to talk to her again, hang out with her, do stuff with her, watch movies, play games, watch anime, the usual stuff that I list. I will be back tomorrow with another ramble. Until then, bye.